Hey guys, this is Alex Kubasek from ConvertSource. So today on the podcast, I'm going to be talking about something that I'm extremely excited about because it's something I really wish that I had somebody tell me or provide me with whenever I was first starting out with online marketing, digital marketing, and really trying to start to grow. And the thing is that not everybody has an unlimited pool of resources. From cash to capital, not everybody can afford big, fancy, shiny platforms to really get their message out there. So today on the podcast, we're going to be going over a lot of the big, really free or inexpensive things that you can use today and start taking advantage of in your business that, like I said, are either free or cost next to nothing, so that you can start to get your message out online. And it's extremely important. I'm extremely passionate about it because, like I said, so many business owners do not, or people starting out do not have unlimited resources to compete with all of these other brands. So stay with us.
3, 2, 1.
When you want your leads and sales on autopilot and to accelerate your business, you come to the source. The ConvertSource podcast with Alex Kubasek. Let's go.
Okay, so like I said on the intro there, I'm extremely gassed up about today's show because there is one big thing that always kind of chapped my ass whenever it came to big businesses and really competition, right? I mean, one of the biggest things is, how do you get your message out there whenever you feel like you're kind of like under the thumb of these big corporations? Like, they're always promoting fancy graphics, videos, all kinds of cool stuff that you really wish that you could do. And you know, coming from a bootstrapping career beginning myself, and this was before a lot of these apps and pretty much all of them that I'm going to be telling you about today really existed, or if they existed, they weren't nearly what they are today. And so I kind of want to go over really how you can be just as professional looking, just as cool as you want to be, right? And really get that big brand look if that's what you want, or get that more natural look if that's what you want. And that's totally fine and totally cool. And so today we're going to be going over exactly some of these tools that you can use right now today that are either free or they cost next to nothing. So the big one is, and obviously without this, you have no message to send. So creative, or images or videos to the layperson. In the big agency world, they'll always talk to you about assets and creative and all of this fancy jargon. But really all it is just a fancy word for images, static images, and really just videos. So kind of clarifying that right off the bat. So if you're like brand new to this game, right? There's going to be a lot of times whenever people are throwing around really fancy words to make it seem a lot more complex and like mystical than it really is. And like I've said many times before, we keep it very real here. You know, I'm here to help you. You know, one of the best things I ever heard anybody say was, if you want to actually help somebody, help them understand. So really one of the biggest things that I like to do is I like to use a lot of analogies, just because it works for me. So I kind of naturally think it works for everybody else. And if it doesn't, let me know and I can try to find another way to kind of explain it to you. But one of the biggest things is creative, or images or videos. And I'm sure that even as a new business person or an entrepreneur just starting out, I'm sure you've heard of Canva, right? So it literally, and of course, I'll put all of these in the description below, but really what it is, it's a templated, really robust graphic design platform and video design platform, where you can choose from really templated videos. You can create your own videos. You can choose from templated images. You can create your own images, and you can kind of mix and match them. Because with these algorithms today, like on Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, they all favor video. So, if all you have is just like a static image, you can bring it to life with some animated text on there. And then you can export it or just download it for, layman's terms, to your device, and it now becomes a video. And so you can leverage video in different ways, shapes, and forms. I highly recommend doing it because that's the thing that is promoted the most by the algorithms today. So that's just one. There's other things called what was formerly called Banner Snack. It's now called Creatopy. That one's a little bit more expensive, but it's not nearly as expensive as something like Photoshop. You're right. And of course, Photoshop comes with years of experience, and it comes with a lot of technical jargon and everything. And quite frankly, as a new business owner or an entrepreneur, you need to get your message out there fast, because it's not, I mean, you've always heard it. It's whoever gets to market the quickest, right? Because here's the thing. Anytime you sit on an idea for too long, there's a good chance that somebody else might swoop in and scoop you and steal those eyeballs away from you, right? So being able to leverage these cool templates that are very aesthetically pleasing, they're really up to market standards, being able to really kind of just customize them to your message makes you able to get your message out there and your expertise, experience, to get your brand out there faster. So there's a bunch of these out there. And really what I would recommend, if you've used Canva, it's not really your cup of tea, or you've used Creatopia, it's not really your cup of tea, I would just recommend going to Google and typing in like Canva alternatives, right? And you will literally just be able to get like a slew of different apps that are out there, because there's a ton. And like I said, they're either going to be free or have a free level or be next to nothing in cost. So definitely check that one off your list, because I remember what it was like starting out and thinking, Photoshop is extremely expensive. And even on the monthly version, it's extremely expensive. And yeah, 14-day trial is cool or whatever, but like, I still need to learn the platform. So I don't necessarily have that kind of time or, cheddar to get things done in the time that I need. So I highly recommend checking out one of those resources. And they're really going to help you get to market faster. It's really also going to be great for you, because you're going to see that you don't need to spend so much to be competitive or even dominate your space. These things are going to be templatized, or you can just edit them and customize them to your business. So it's really quick, easy, drag, drop, point and shoot type thing. So I hope that one really helps you move your message along further. Sorry, I was taking a sip of coffee, because I know how long it can take to make creative, and the common nomenclature. And of course, companies like Adobe, what they want you to think is, and for those of you who don't know, Adobe is like they have Photoshop, that's theirs, or Illustrator or something like that. So that being the case, I really hope that resource is going to help you get to market quicker, right? So another one is like, once we have the creative, once we have our message, so in this case, we're talking about like creative in terms of like videos and images. We'll talk about other pieces of, not creative, but in this case, other pieces of content shortly. But in terms of like getting that graphical or video message out there, it's very difficult to keep up with every single one of the platforms, right? So I have to go to Facebook. I either have to schedule or post there. Then I have to go to Instagram. Well, you can't schedule there. So then that starts to run into roadblock, and then you have to do that real time. Well, that's a pain in the butt. Then you've got TikTok. You have to post it there. And then you've got Snapchat. You got to post it there. And you've just got all of these places where you got to post your content. And then let's not forget about your blogs for SEO. And for those of you who don't know, SEO is search engine optimization. That really helps with like your results in Google. But all of this becomes really cumbersome, because it's like, okay, well, Alex, great. You gave me this fantastic tool to get my creativity and my message out there faster. But like, now I feel like I've hit a roadblock. And even though you've saved me time with like Canva and those other sources, now that time is being eaten up with having to go to every single individual platform. But I'm sure that many of you seasoned folks out there already know of all these cool things that I'm about to mention. But for those of you who don't know, and even those of you who are seasoned but need, another source to potentially pull on, like another lever to pull on because you're sick of the one that you have, there are plenty of platforms out there where you can literally take one piece of content, so like your video or your image, etc., and you can just plug it into these platforms, and you can just distribute it to all of your platforms all at once, and you can schedule them. So what you can do is, and this is what we do here at ConvertSource, is we sit down, we create, okay, here's the content that we want for the month ahead, and we literally just program it all for the entire month. Of course, we have like one-off things like stories or just important messages, keeping up with, our followers. But, whenever it comes to like the real meaty content, like the blogs or the podcasts or anything like that, those are things that we need to plan ahead of time to save ourselves time to be more efficient in our months, right? In our quarter. So here, these platforms are things like Hootsuite, HubSpot, Buffer. You can rattle them all off. Sprout Social. Those are like the really big ones. There are some others, but they start to get up in the cost because they'll usually offer you like your first 1 to 3 platforms. And by platforms, I mean like social media platforms, like your business pages, like your Facebook, your Instagram, and your TikTok. They'll usually give you like 1 to 3 profiles for free and like so many users. But then whenever you start to get into, because they know that you need to have multiple platforms, then they'll start to get up into like maybe 5, 10, 20 bucks a month, which, taking more coffee, which, isn't awful. But, in the sense of a little ninja tip here, you don't have to have every single one of those platforms. Usually what I say is focus on like your top 2 or 3 that you think, or you've done your research where you know that your ideal prospects are hanging out. So like if you are a little bit of an older demographic, you probably want to focus a little bit more on Facebook, kind of delving into like some LinkedIn a little bit if you're on the little bit more professional side. But, if you want to start to usher in like a little bit younger, maybe not, such necessarily an older demographic, but I would also recommend bringing in some Instagram, because here's the thing. The number one killer of all business, and this is kind of going off on a little bit of a tangent, but the number one killer of all business isn't undercapitalization. It's customer attrition. So in this case, you always need to make sure that you're presenting your message, even though you're like, if your demographic is just older, even if it's a little bit older, you still want to make sure that you're touching on some of these platforms that are a little bit more all-encompassing of ages, because that way you can start to wear down your customer attrition and keep your brand present for those of us coming up. Because what is the one thing that nobody on this planet can beat? And that is time. So we're all going to get there eventually. So it's better to start kind of like branding yourself on some of these more all-inclusive platforms all the time, right? But like, if you do focus on an older demographic, you probably don't need to be posting really on like Snapchat, right? I mean, it's just a younger demographic, and it still is, and for the foreseeable future will be. So, but back to it, what I'm saying is focus on like, 1 to 3 platforms that you believe, when you've done your research, you believe that this is where your ideal prospects are hanging out. And that way you can start to make sure that, okay, you have your Buffer or your Sprout Social or your Hootsuite or your HubSpot or whatever it is, Buffer or later.com, whatever it is. This way, then, okay, this platform gives me 1 to 3 profiles or business pages allotted. And I know that it's either free or it's $10 a month. So, okay, what are we up to now in terms of our operating costs? Well, with Canva or those platforms, there's like a free or like a $10, $15 level a month. If you go at the free level, you might not be able to really just remove the background, right? So that has always been a pain in the butt if you want to do some things behind the scenes. But to kind of level up, it's not really that expensive. But let's just say that, for a big ballpark, you might have to go to like the pro level of Canva, right? So that's like $10 a month or $15 a month you can pay annually. But I also know that whenever it comes to starting out, every dime counts. So you can totally get away with using Canva at the free level and still bang out amazing creative images, videos. But now then we're talking about like a social platform, or not a social platform, but a platform that allows us to post that one piece of content to all of our best performing social platforms. So it might be like Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, for example. I don't know what yours are, but when you do your research, you'll be able to find that out. And like I said, of all the ones that I've just rattled off, like HubSpot, Buffer, Later.com, Hootsuite, Sprout Social, they all have free levels, or at least free or inexpensive. So then you might be at like, let's just say like $25 a month, right? So now we have our creative development tool, but then we also have our broadcasting tool for that creative. And we're only at like $20 a month, $25 a month. Now, past that, okay, now we're talking, all right, well, once I'm on social media and once I'm getting like some followers because I'm posting relevant content using hashtags, etc., then I have to have something for people to like opt into, meaning exchange their name, email, and maybe phone number to get something from me, right? This coffee's really good today. So in order to do that, I need to have a platform that can capture those leads. And at the same time, wouldn't it be really nice if I could then have a platform that captures those leads, but also at the same time then sends them out like a deliverable email, aka a confirmation email, something that they can get automatically once they submit that information to me to get that thing, whether it's an ebook, a training, a video, what have you, a coupon, a discount, etc. So something that I really recommend to people who are like in the info product business or lead generation business is I always recommend like Active Campaign, Get Response, anything that has the ability to give you some logic to it, or like autopilot. Because here's the thing, they all have it so that you can create a form, plop it on your website or your landing page, but it's tethered to your instance, meaning your platform. So then you can say, once somebody submits their name, email, and phone number, send them whatever they requested, right? And they do that and it can do that on autopilot. So like, essentially, if you think about it, you've created your piece of creative, your video or your image, you've posted it on social media, you're getting some attention, some people are then starting to submit a form through like an Active Campaign or a Buffer, etc. And then, or no, not Buffer, an Active Campaign or a Get Response, and then they immediately get a confirmation email. So that's really cool. And so from there then, okay, well, what do we do? Because yeah, they might submit the form to get the thing, but like, what if they're not ready to buy yet? Or what if they're not ready to talk to me yet? That's why I said that you want to have something that has like some logic capabilities built into it. So that's like where you're able to say, if this, then that, right? So if they, click to read the book, send them out an email that says, or the ebook, send them out an email that says, hey, thank you so much for reading this, or I noticed that you read this. I'd love to talk to you more about it and see how we can use it to help your business. Did you find it interesting, etc. So that's that logic that I'm talking about. And some of those platforms, they start out at like $9 a month, or some of them even have a free level. So like now we're up to like, okay, like $30 a month, like kind of outside ballpark, $30 a month. So you're generating leads, you're generating creative assets, right? So like images and videos, etc. You're able to broadcast on all of your platforms with the click of a button. And so what you're starting to do now is not only are you starting to save costs, right? Because we're bootstrapping it, or we're just trying to find a way to cut some costs so that we can not cut costs everywhere, but we can reinvest it somewhere else to grow our business. You can start to see how we don't need to just willy-nilly spend on the newest shiny object, right? Because we have the ability to use these great platforms that provide us with amazing value, and it doesn't really cost that much, right? So it's incredible. It's really incredible what we can do today and all the capabilities that these platforms have. It really is. So when you put all of this together, you're now online. You literally have an automated system that is online, and all you have to do is just schedule posts, create the creative, right? So the video or the image, schedule the posts, and then the system takes care of it for you, meaning your autoresponder is what it's called, your active campaign or get response, because somebody submitted a form to get something from you. Oh, and by the way, if you are using like a lead generation tactic and you're using like an ebook, you can also use Canva to do that. Or a lot of these other platforms, you can use that to do it. So you don't even need another app to do that. So, and of course, if you're doing like video training, you can use like Vimeo, you can use Wistia, you can use YouTube, for crying out loud. That all of these either have a free or very inexpensive level so that you can host your videos, get a link to put it on a landing page for them to consume. So if you think about it, you can really run your business online for like $50 or less. And let's say you want to have some continuing education in there so that you can keep, your finger to the pulse, your ear to the ground. You can, like, there are plenty of further education platforms out there that are very inexpensive, but offer you extremely helpful content and video training to be able to help kind of be like your crystal ball so that you can keep creating the most cutting edge content and images and videos to continue to stay current with your business and to stay current with all the what's in demand by my audience. So I really wish that I had this whenever I was first starting out, because I had to bootstrap it. I had to go find all this stuff. I had to spend years figuring out how to cut corners, how to literally just like kind of make it look good. So I really hope that today's show was really helpful for you, because this means that you can literally get online with your business, your message, your expertise, and start publishing it to your prospects for like under $50 a month. And probably a lot cheaper than that even, because like I said, I've offered you so many of these resources. And like I said, I'll put them in the description, but that have free levels. So until you start to grow your business, you could probably operate this for next to nothing. So I really hope that this was inspiring, encouraging. I really hope that you got a lot of value out of this, because like I said, I really wish that I would have had this stuff whenever I was first starting out and somebody tell me about these resources. So I want to save you guys the time. I want to save you guys the agony, and I want to help you spend money on things that matter in your business, not necessarily something shiny over here that you could have a better alternative that doesn't cost as much, but still produces the same amazing quality. So guys, thank you so much for watching the show today. If you have any questions, send us an email at support@convertsource.com. We'd love to have a conversation with you, talk about your business, see how we can maybe help you, but most importantly, how you can continue to start and grow your business online to help your ideal customers. So thank you so much for watching today. God bless, be great, and we'll see you next time, guys.
When you want your leads and sales on autopilot and to accelerate your business, you come to the source. The Convert Source Podcast with Alex Kubasek. Let's go.